What are your initial thoughts on Penn State?
Penn State, obviously a really great team. They have some serious firepower on the pins. I think their middles do a nice job. Fantastic libero, so not many holes for them in my mind. I know they've had some losses this year that could be unexpected, but I still think this is a team that can contend at a really high level.
How different do they look without Izzy?
No, you can't really replace Izzy Stark, just her talent as a setter, her athleticism, but I still, again, they have Kennedy Martin, who I think she could hit off anybody. She's going to be great. They're outside hitters. They have 3 of them that are really, really physical. Setter doesn't affect the libero, so I think they're still a very, very good team.
Penn State obviously ended their season last year, your season at Louisville last year. How, as a collective locker room, do you channel that motivation, that energy into the game, I guess?
Yeah, we're, I'd say, pretty motivated, and you kind of like chip on our shoulder week. We know that we're going to have to play really well to go in there and beat them. I know it's sold out, and it's one of the toughest places to play, if not the toughest in the conference. So it's going to be a challenge. But I do think this team, Penn State or not, this team is kind of ready for another challenge and ready for something to really have our sights set on. So I'm fired up for yesterday's practice and the rest of this week, and going into Penn State feeling prepared.
What about for you? You haven't been in a Big Ten roadway match in quite a while. What are you looking forward to in that sense?
Yeah, it's funny. We played at Penn State last year when I was at Louisville, and we got rolled. So I also lost to them twice last year. But I'm, again, looking forward to a huge challenge and just getting back on the road. And wherever Nebraska goes, even though Penn State draws great crowds on their own, but when we go places, it's sold out or near sold out. So I'm just excited for that type of atmosphere again, and like a game that has a lot on the line, and the fans are going to be super into it both ways.
What was your reaction to what Kennedy did against UCLA hitting?
Not that surprising because she's so good and talented. It's just somebody that we know is going to get their kills. It's just, can you slow her down? I don't know. How do you try to slow her down while maintaining everybody else on their team? I think those are the questions we're answering this week and working to figure out.
Were you surprised by what service Steve did last week in those matches you had? He gave up 9 aces.
A little bit. 9 aces isn't good, but I also think that when we're not getting ace, we're passing well, so I guess that's a positive. And our attack percentage is still very, very good. So I'm not overly concerned. I think it's a lot of reasons, why we're kind of getting aced a lot. And I think a lot of them are in our control.
One of those they seem to be, bad at judging where the ball's going to fly.
Right.
They let a lot go too. Is that How do you work on that, or is that just?
I think a lot of communication and relationships, and just the confidence piece. When your passers aren't confident, then they don't want to take those tough serves. So working on just getting more confidence with them and making sure they understand that, they're not being evaluated on every single passing stat. That's not how I'm gonna write a passing lineup. So they shouldn't be scared to have a bad pass. It's obviously better than getting ace. So I think it's just more, I don't want to take that one because it's going to go towards my stats. And I also think teams tee off against us and serve really, really tough. And sometimes a lot more of those go in than out. And I felt like Maryland, if you watch it on film, a lot of those serves were very, very tough. So
Back to passing for a second. There's a ton of different stats out there. Which ones matter to you? The scales? Or
Yeah, the scale, we pass on a 4-point scale, so I think that gives us a lot of information. And then the in-system pass percentage, I think, is really important. Those are probably the 2 biggest ones. But I also want to keep reiterating, it's our passing number as a group, not Laney passed this, Liv passed this, Harper passed this, Soraya passed this. It's what are we passing as a group is the important stat, not individually, because it's how do they make each other better or worse or whatever it may be.
You wanted to use that second set to get a look at the extended look at the double sub. After watching the tape, how do you feel like Campbell and Allie can help this team?
Yeah,
out?
well, volleyball is a team sport, right? So the double sub is great, and I want to use it more than we have been. But then it takes Lainey or Liv, who's ever not in the libero jersey, off the court, and I think that is also something to consider because they both have a huge impact, but the double sub can have a huge impact. So I do think it's more of a situational sub and something we're gonna look to use here and there when it won't disrupt our passing, or maybe it's against certain servers. But Campbell and Allie are both very good on their own, and of course I want to get them experience as a double sub, but also just experience in case Campbell needs to go in for Bergen and Allie goes in for Virginia, just to feel confident and ready to go.
Did you have Penn State number 2 in your preseason poll? Your ABC?
Ooh, I think I probably had Texas, maybe Penn State. I don't remember. I had us 1 and one of them 2.
What did you think of them? Knowing what they brought back and then what they were bringing in from freshman and portal?
Yeah, well, I think at the time when you look at them and they're bringing back their starting setter who was an All-American and their libero who was, I don't know if she was an All-American. She should have been if she wasn't. So two really good pieces to start with. And then you add Emmy Selman and Kennedy Martin, and those are 2 great pin hitters and just not just 2 great hitters, but 2 great all-around players. It's like, well, the addition of just those 2 is going to significantly raise their stock. And then I know they return their middles who were great pieces for them last year. So it just felt like they were certainly going to be one of the most talented teams, at least the most talented core 7A players in the country.
Couple more?
You mentioned that you like road trips because gives the team kind of time together. What are you looking forward to about going away this weekend?
Yeah, it's the time together. But I'm personally looking forward to some sleep. So having a 4-month-old, I'm like, normally I'd be like sad to be away from my kids, but this might be the first one. I'm like, oh, I'll catch up on some sleep this one. So.
Is the young one coming for Nashville?
No, they're both staying home this time. But yeah, I just think the time where you really get to focus on yourselves as a team, and there's not that many distractions, and people hanging around the hotel, people in the team room. It just it's a good vibe, and it's also like fun for the coaches. We get to interact with the players a lot more than when we're at home. So looking forward to all those things.
I think a lot of the players know what they sign up for and know kind of the environment. But Virginia, a lot of this is new for her. Does the team have to how do they prepare her for something like playing rec hall?
I don't really think you can prepare somebody until you're in there. Like, that's how I felt last year with my team at Louisville. I talked about it a lot, and then we get there and we get blown out. So I don't know if talking about it really prepares it. It's just, hopefully in the match, they can help her if she's struggling or focus her attention elsewhere if the crowd becomes a factor. But she's played in some big matches overseas, which is good, so she'll be able to look back on some of her experience and hopefully have some good comparisons.
A lot has been made from Penn State, rightly so. You have a back-to-back with Rutgers. How do you flush whatever happens on Friday and move to Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, Rutgers is, I think, really good this year. I think it's one of their better teams, and that's a program that I feel like is taking volleyball more seriously as an athletic department. So, certainly not just a game you can expect to go in there and beat them if you're not prepared. So I think just taking one game at a time and having our team realize that every win is still just a W, every loss is still just a loss, and Rutgers will just be another chance to add to our resume.
You guys are tied for last in aces per set in Division I. How do you balance wanting more aces versus just serving teams out of system?
The goal is always a good amount of system more than acing. The aces typically come, but from a serving standpoint, we're serving pretty well. And I've said it before, we measure a lot of serving on 3-point runs. I think can players go on runs? That's what will bust a game open. versus one ace is great, but if you can score 3 in a row, that's huge. So we're going to continue to focus on that more than just aces per set. We also don't have, a top spinner or a really unique server that can sometimes skew those statistics.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you guys.